After they did something bad to this guy, he needs to keep his energy up or he'll die. At the beginning of the story, a man named Chev Kalios wakes up feeling strange and goes to his living room. He finds a CD with a rude message on it. Curious, he plays the CD and sees a video of a man named Ricky Verona. Ricky says he put something in Chev's body that makes him feel sick. In the video, Chev was poisoned by Ricky after being knocked out by one of Ricky's friends. Ricky says Chev only has an hour to live. Ricky is angry because Chev killed Don Kim. Chev gets really upset, breaks his TV, and runs outside. He steps on cars and runs over a man who complained. He drives fast like in an action movie. Chev calls his girlfriend Eve, but she doesn't answer. He calls Dr. Miles' office, but Dr. Miles is busy. Chev leaves a message that sounds like he's giving up. Chev keeps driving, and he's getting tired and his vision is getting blurry. But he pushes himself to drive faster. Chev calls a person named Kayla, who is a drag queen. Kayla tells Chev that Ricky came to his apartment and hurt him. Now Chev wants revenge on Ricky, even if it's the last thing he does. It might really be his last chance to do anything. Chev tells Kayla to find Ricky for him. Verona has arrived in Orlando's neighborhood. He enters a club and forcefully takes Rolando into the bathroom, holding a gun to his face. He's demanding to know where Ricky is. Just as he threatens Rolando, Orlando's friends enter the bathroom with their own guns, aiming at Verona. Orlando still remains brave and sincere, even with a gun pointed at him. He claims he doesn't know where Ricky is and that he's actually searching for Ricky because he owes him money from a business deal. Verona, whose real name is Chev, starts feeling unwell due to a heart condition. He asks Orlando for some sugar to stabilize himself. Orlando obliges, but Chev's condition worsens. He pays Orlando for the sugar and consumes it quickly. Oddly, Chev uses his nose to ingest the sugar. The sugar helps him feel better, and he stands up. Chev tells Orlando he's looking for Ricky because some Chinese individuals want to harm Ricky. Orlando understands it's related to Don Kemp. While they talk, Chev's heart rate slows again. He realizes the sugar isn't enough and decides to fight. Before Orlando can fully comprehend, Chev headbutts one of his own men and challenges the rest. He runs out of the club, and everyone chases him. He manages to escape in his car and drives away. While driving, Ricky Verona calls Chev, taunting him about not being dead yet and mentioning an affair with Chev's girlfriend. Chev vows to come for Verona and warns about someone named Carlita. Ricky dismisses the threat, claiming to be on good terms with Carlito. During the drive, Chev is repeatedly stopped by the police but ignores them. He receives a call from Dr. Miles, to whom he explains his poisoning symptoms. As he continues driving through a mall, the story continues. The doctor says a strong chemical inside his body, called adrenaline, is helping him stay alive right now. To survive, he needs to keep moving. He thinks someone might have given him a special mixture that stops the adrenaline from working. If he stops moving, he will die. While he's on the phone and being chased by the police, he crashes his car and ends up on a moving staircase. He gets out and starts running. Dr. Miles, the doctor, says he'll reach Los Angeles in about an hour and tells him to keep moving. Chev, the person, goes outside and sees a taxi. He forces the passenger out of the taxi and tells the driver to go. But he has a heart problem again. He asks the driver to play loud music. He stops the taxi and goes into a store. He scares an employee and takes energy drinks. He tries to call his girlfriend but can't reach her. He still gets a flower for her. He goes back to the taxi and tells the driver to go to Beverly Hills. In Beverly Hills, he finds Carlito's fancy apartment. Carlito is there, and they talk. Chev asks for a cure, but Carlito says there isn't one. He compares the stuff inside Chev to something given to horses. Chev asks for help to find Ricky, but Carlito says no. Carlito admits he likes Chev but blames him for a previous problem. The heat from Hong Kong, or trouble, is more than they expected after a certain event. Carlito has been happy until Chev yells at him. Then, he gets upset and asks Chev if he's being disrespectful. Chev leaves the pool. His taxi driver is waiting outside. The driver is annoyed because Chev's clothes are wet, but Chev doesn't get in the cab. What does Chev do when he's wet? He grabs a guy, throws him down, and says something mean. People nearby rush to stop him. Meanwhile, Chev's friend Chubb drives away. Chubb gets a call from his doctor while driving. The doctor says Chubb's flight is late, but he can help him over the phone. The doctor tells Chubb to increase a certain thing in his body to feel better. Energy drinks won't help enough. Chubb needs to go to a hospital for a shot with special medicine. The doctor warns not to do too much, just a little is okay. Chubb gets a call from his friend Kayla. Kayla saw someone's brother at a place. Chubb meets Kayla, asks questions, and goes inside the place. The brother sees Chubb, pulls out a gun, and goes after him. Little does he know, Chev is waiting outside. Chev cuts the brother's hand off. Chev wants to know where the brother's own brother is. A fight happens, but Chev and Kayla's friends help. Chev's gun is empty. He sees the brother's hand with the gun and uses it to hit him. Chev takes the brother's phone and calls someone named Ricky. Ricky is surprised Chev is alive. Chev teases Ricky and hangs up. Chev goes to the hospital but forgets what the doctor told him. He talks to a pharmacist who can't give him what he needs. Chev finds nasal spray with the right stuff and uses it. A woman and a cop notice him and start chasing him. Chev hides in a room with a sick man. The cops come in, then leave. Chev puts on a hospital robe and walks past the cops, but they start following him again. He starts running again. While he's running, he sees a man being pushed on a bed into the emergency room. He points a gun at a doctor and asks for a medicine called epinephrine. After almost a whole minute, the guy finds it and gives it to Jeff. But Jeff isn't happy with that. He grabs a machine called a defibrillator and asks the guy to shock him with it. The shock throws Jeff into an elevator. The police use this moment to try to catch him, but he shoots at them and they run away. He throws the man who was in the elevator out and closes the door. His heart is beating fast, but he manages to sit up and inject the epinephrine into his veins. Then he remembers he needs to ask how much of the medicine he told Tech. He rushes out of the elevator and the hospital really quickly. He's running on the road now, as if he's a fast vehicle himself. He gets a call from a person named the doctor. The doctor tells Jeff they're on an airplane now and asks if he got the epinephrine. Without Jeff saying anything, the doctor figures out that Jeff took all of the medicine. The doctor tells him that might kill him and lists the symptoms, getting everything right. Just before Dr. Miles hangs up, he says, "It's been nice knowing you." Imagine hearing those words from your doctor. It's like a life sentence. But Jeff keeps running. He stops when he sees some people in front of a TV watching the news. He's surprised to find out they're talking about him on TV. It turns out he's wanted by the police. What's the first thing he does? He steals a bike from a police officer. This guy really thinks he's a character from a video game called GTA. He doesn't just take the bike and leave, he even does a little spin before riding away. He's doing some crazy tricks on the bike, showing off. When he crashes into a small outdoor restaurant, he blacks out for a few seconds, but then his phone rings and that wakes him up. It's his girlfriend Eve. He tells her that he's been poisoned and the person who did it might be coming for her, but she acts like he's talking about the weather. He says he'll be with her very quickly. He even asks her to make waffles for him. Now we see Ricky being shown his brother's hand. Ricky laughs and says they should go after the bad person. Then, we see Chev arriving at Eve's apartment. He's wearing a tracksuit and tells her they need to leave quickly. While she's talking about fixing the microwave, she seems to have no clue what's happening right now. She said she'd only go with him if he fixed the microwave. So, he went to fix it. While he was there, he realized his medicine was wearing off. He did something foolish. He put his hand in the waffle iron and got burned. Eve wanted to see the burn, but he said no. She insisted, so he got a bit mad but quickly said sorry. They left the place. Just as they were leaving, Jeff saw some men with guns arriving outside the house. He rushed to leave, but Eve told him to go back and turn off the waffle iron. While she was inside, the phone rang. She picked it up, but no one was there. Jeff attacked one of the gunmen and got back to Eve just in time. They left and went to a Chinese restaurant. Jeff told Eve that he lied about being a video game programmer. He was actually a hitman. He shared his recent dangerous job and how he decided not to kill a mafia boss. He wanted to quit his job for Eve. She was upset but still cared about him. Jeff wanted to confess everything to her that night and leave town together. However, she thought it was just an excuse to break up. They argued, and his heart acted up again. He thought about killing her, but she said no. He got angry but she hit him, then felt bad and checked on him. They started getting intimate, and people around them watched like it was a show. He got a call from Kayla about Verona. Jeff left to find her, looking very unwell. A Haitian cab driver gave him something, thinking he was a drug addict. He drinks something strange that Jeb calls a name I can't say. At first, he acts weird but then gets slower and goes to a place called Kim's factory. He's not heavy enough and someone has already hit Kahlo. Someone sees him come down from a vehicle, but he doesn't use the front door. He goes up to the roof and sees a man in a nice suit. He throws the man down and goes inside where there's a person named Kayla. He asks about a guy named Ricky Verona, but the boss there says it's not Ricky's fault. It's because of a person named Carlito who's causing problems for their group. They want him gone. They tell him to go find a quiet place to die and they'll handle Ricky. He doesn't believe this and starts shooting at everyone in the factory. And guess who shows up? Eve. Maybe now he'll believe her. He goes to an elevator with Kayla to meet Eve. He uses Kayla to block himself from bullets and gets shot in the leg. They go downstairs where people are working, and a gunman follows them. They manage to get away and he traps the gunman's hand in a sewing machine. More men come and shoot at them, but they escape through a fire escape. They're being chased by many cars, and people in those cars are shooting at them. He manages to deal with the situation and keeps driving, but Eve stops because he's tired. She gets out of the car and helps him deal with more people. Then they stop at a store, he goes inside limping, and Eve follows. She sees him hammering nails into his legs because he can't feel them. Right then, he gets a call while he's at the dock. He's in his office at the moment. He asks Jeff to come over. Jeff and Eve go there. Dr. Miles is now treating someone named Chaff. Unfortunately, Dr. Miles says the treatment is only temporary. He offers to keep Chaff alive with life support, but he'll eventually fall into a coma. Dr. Miles also suggests giving him something to let him pass away peacefully. However, Jeff wants something else. He wants 1 hour for a specific purpose involving a man named Ricky Verona. Meanwhile, Ricky Verona is in his car watching TV. The news is all about Chav. Ricky gets a call from Chav who proposes a deal. Chav wants an antidote in exchange for returning a valuable medallion he took from Ricky's brother. Ricky agrees and gets a location from Jeff. It's clear that the medallion means a lot to Ricky. As Ricky heads to the location, he calls someone. At the same time, Jeff, dressed in a suit, arrives at the location. He goes to the bathroom first to check his medical device and gun. Afterward, he takes some pills. The pills quickly start affecting him, making him hear various voices, including his own. He gets out of the elevator, and without saying a word, a man leads him to a room. Chev's gun is taken away, and he's brought to an outdoor area where he meets Carlito and Verona. Verona wants Chev to be searched again. They take away Chev's medical device, and Carlito puts on gloves. Chev tries to provoke Ricky mentally, and it works. Ricky gets angry and points a gun at Chev, but Carlito tells him to sit down. The situation is confusing for everyone, including Ricky. Suddenly, Don Kim and his men arrive, leading to a shootout. Men are getting shot, and the chaos is everywhere. Just as the police arrive outside, Ricky tries to grab a gun to shoot someone named Jeff. But then Jeff throws a bottle at Ricky, and Ricky drops the gun. Not only does Ricky drop the gun, but it also goes off and hurts Ricky's fingers. Another person named Carlito hides and calls for help to get out of there. Oh, someone brought a grenade to this fight with guns, which doesn't seem fair. But Carlito uses one of his friends as a shield against the grenade and runs away. Ricky also tries to run away, but Jeff catches him. Just as Jeff is about to do something to Ricky, Ricky's heart acts up, and he can't see well. He shoots randomly, not knowing what he's shooting at. Now Carlito goes upstairs and gets into a helicopter. But Jeff shows up, holds onto Carlito, and points a gun at him. Ricky surprises Jeff, injects something into him, and Jeff falls down. Ricky finishes off Carlito and tells the helicopter pilot to fly. However, Chad, someone else, wakes up and fights with Ricky in the flying helicopter. They struggle a lot, and eventually both fall off the helicopter. Chad makes sure Ricky doesn't survive the fall. Even though Chad is falling, he calls his girlfriend, who doesn't answer, so he leaves her a sweet message. Then Chad hits a car and falls to the ground. This fall is really long, but it's okay because of the message he left for his girlfriend. The lesson from the story is about Jason Statham, who is part of the movie.